Hi everyone, I'm Desree. When I get nervous, I like to start with a joke. Is that okay? A girl walks into a bar and says, ouch. I'm sorry that happened. Okay, I'm gonna try one more time. Okay, a woman walks into a poetry night and she screams, see, safe places are only safe when the monsters show their face, and it's funny how the same men protesting hashtag all men are trash are now pulling their friends out of black bin bags, and it's funny how sexism can still prevail even where liberals dwell, and it's funny how often we confuse the word enlightenment with entitlement. How conscience is only ever a result of consequence. How even in these progressive circles, a woman is still just a man's accomplishment, and I am tired. I do not want to hear another I am sorry, I got caught apology. If you break something, you cannot fix it with I'm sorry, so fuck your apology. And fuck your excuses, and fuck boys will be boys, and fuck not being surprised that they do this. These men make our movies. They run our poetry nights, they tell us jokes, they host children TV, they have the nuclear code, so no. I do not want to hear another person tell me not all men. Because if every woman has at least one Me Too story, yet we outnumber them, that doesn't make sense. So instead of saying not all men, why don't you just try not to be one of them? And don't liken this to a witch hunt, because a witch hunt has no substance. We have receipts, we have tweets, we have confessions on TV. No wonder why not even the arts wanted to hear women speak. They were afraid. Because look at how resilient we are, even through all of this pain, and it happens again and again and again, and I am tired, and yes, I am talking to all men because we need all men to stand beside us because time's up. Because yes, that has happened to me too. So maybe a woman can just walk into a bar and get the respect she ought to. Thank you. Okay, so this one is called privilege. Your privilege answers questions nobody asked it. It shows up to parties empty-handed, but is always the first to pour a drink. Your privilege chews with its mouth open. Your privilege talks loudly in libraries. Your privilege opens the window on a train when they aren't sitting next to it. Your privilege waits until the cashier tells them the amount before looking for their wallet. Your privilege itemizes the bill at a restaurant. It says things like, well, I only got a water. It drives at 60 miles an hour in the middle lane. Your privilege tells everyone it's a vegan. It quotes facts about cowspiracy at the dinner table. It asks questions like, well, what was she wearing? Your privilege shares videos about Cecil the Lion but does not know who Rashawn Charles is. Your privilege wears socks and sandals. Your privilege called him a drug dealer before they called him someone's son. Your privilege mimes to songs on Snapchat and then sends them directly to people. Your privilege does not like to be referred to by its name. It says it does not see color. It says you people. It cannot tell the difference between a riot and a protest, between a black boy and a criminal, between a police officer and a system built to oppress. Your privilege does not wash its rice. Your privilege makes jokes about killing trans people. Your privilege will cry to win an argument. Your privilege feels misunderstood. Your privilege feels like it can define what racism is, define what sexism is, define what is homophobia and what's not. I suppose, seeing as your privilege created these concepts, your privilege comments on Pornhub videos. It says it does not mean to interrupt while interrupting. It asks, are you going to let me speak when I haven't finished my sentence? Your privilege uses religious doctrine to justify its hatred. Your privilege does not wash its hands when it leaves the bathroom. It returns to the table to finish its meal. Maybe that's why your privilege is so full of shit. Your privilege does not believe in itself. It does not think it exists. It thinks of itself as more of a construct than constructed, as more of a warrior than a warmonger. It thinks of itself as the cause rather than the cure. Your privilege coughs without covering its mouth. I think your privilege needs to be addressed. Thank you. So I wrote this as a response to a lot of men I came into contact with just in general life. And it's called, Are You Okay? I've only ever had conversations with your ego. Occasionally you let me talk to your self-esteem, but keep him locked up on account of just how fragile he can be. You are part man, part every word that has ever broken you. Part hostile, Housing dreams that flew but couldn't afford to, you are your father's absence. You hold the heat from the anger of every time you were told big boys don't cry, and now you're infertile. Dry. See, nothing ever grows without water to give it life. You speak to be heard, not to listen. You are a walking contradiction, claim to be woke but slept on your own vision, no spirit. Yet you worship true religions. What you fail to realize is your truth is missing, but I suppose. If you think all your strength lies in your fists, you'd do anything to cut them off. When a rope holds more weight than your words do, or a bullet is the closest to feeling whole you have come across, I am sorry. For failing to realize this world is trying to break you too. So they put you on a pedestal, then kicked it from under you. When 76% of all suicides are men, what does man up really mean? When kill or be killed has become so deep-rooted in your identity that you will turn on yourself when fight and flight take place at the same time, it seems almost impossible to ask for help, so you man up. But here's where perception is vital. Because manning up often looks like man down, so no one knows that man is suicidal. So I will ask you and your ego at every given opportunity if you're okay. Because who knows how many lives those 3 words can save. Thank you.